Around the world, millions of families are touched by neurodegenerative disease: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis. Three conditions we typically think of as separate, isolated diagnoses, each with its own symptoms, its own treatments, and its own devastating progression. But what if these diseases are not as separate as we once believed? Today, modern neuroscience is uncovering a shared biological thread, common mechanisms deep within the brain and immune system that quietly drive the progression of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. And the more we understand these connections, the closer we move toward early diagnosis, targeted therapeutics, and, one day, true prevention. This is the story of what these three diseases have in common. Before we get too deep into this topic, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This will help bring the truth about health and healing to the thousands of people who need to hear this message. Now back to the episode. Neurodegenerative diseases were once viewed as unrelated, like different storms hitting the same coastline. Alzheimer's affects memory, Parkinson's affects movement, MS affects motor and sensory function through attacks on the myelin sheath. But research over the last 15 years shows overlapping pathways, shared cellular breakdown processes, and surprisingly common risk factors. Three major unifying mechanisms keep showing up. 1. Chronic inflammation in the brain, neuroinflammation. 2. Mitochondrial dysfunction and impaired energy metabolism. 3. Protein misfolding, aggregation, or autoimmunity-related damage. These mechanisms don't just occur in one disease, they appear across all three. Scientists now believe that understanding these shared processes may unlock new ways to diagnose and treat all neurodegenerative diseases simultaneously. Let's break each down. Inflammation is the immune system's alarm signal, useful in small amounts, destructive when nonstop. In Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and multiple sclerosis, this alarm becomes stuck in the on position. Microglia, our brain's resident immune cells, were first identified in 1919 by Spanish neuroscientist Pío del Río Ortega. Today, his early discoveries are being rediscovered with new relevance. When microglia sense trouble, they release cytokines and inflammatory mediators. That's helpful in the short term, but devastating over years. Let's take a look at how this shows up in each disease. Alzheimer's, microglia become overactivated around amyloid plaques. Instead of clearing them, they trigger more inflammation. Research from Harvard neurologist Dr. Rudolf Tanzi shows that microglial dysfunction is one of the earliest events in Alzheimer's pathology. Parkinson's. Studies led by Dr. David Sulzer at Columbia University reveal that microglia attack dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra, accelerating motor symptoms. Multiple sclerosis. In MS, microglia partner with peripheral immune cells, especially T cells, to attack myelin, the protective coating around neurons. This is the hallmark of MS, an autoimmune neuroinflammatory cascade. A 2023 review published in Nature Reviews Neuroscience showed that chronic neuroinflammation is a unifying pathological feature of major neurodegenerative diseases. Another 2022 meta-analysis concluded that inflammation isn't just associated with these diseases, it often precedes symptom onset. Neuroinflammation may be the first domino. In recent years, Parkinson's disease research has been propelled forward by the work of neurologist Dr. Ray Dorsey, professor of neurology at the University of Rochester Medical Center, and co-author of the influential book Ending Parkinson's Disease, 2020. Dorsey's central message is stark. Parkinson's disease is the world's fastest growing neurological disorder, and much of it is preventable. His research highlights that the rise in Parkinson's isn't due to genetics alone. Instead, industrial chemicals such as trichloroethylene, TCE, and other solvents, air pollution, pesticides like paraquat and rotenone, environmental toxins linked to mitochondrial damage are major contributors to the Parkinson's epidemic. Here are some of Dr. Dorsey's key contributions. 1. Environmental toxins as primary drivers. Dorsey's collaboration with Dr. Bastian Bloem and Dr. Michael Okun shows that toxins are directly linked to dopaminergic neuron death through oxidative stress, mitochondrial impairment, and alpha-synuclein accumulation. 2. Systemic inflammation and immune activation. His work aligns with emerging evidence that exposure to chemicals like TCE triggers chronic inflammation in the brain, the same neuroinflammatory cascade we see in Alzheimer's and MS. 3. Early detection through environmental history. Dorsey advocates for environmental screening as part of early diagnosis, arguing that prevention requires identifying exposure long before symptoms emerge. 4. Public health strategy. He proposes that Parkinson's can be slowed and possibly reversed on a population level through banning toxic chemicals, improving air quality, early screening, metabolic and mitochondrial therapies, nerve protective lifestyle interventions. Every neuron is an energy powerhouse. The brain makes up only 2% of body mass, but consumes 20 to 25% of total energy. To maintain thought, movement, memory, and cellular repair, neurons rely on mitochondria, tiny structures that act like biological power plants. When mitochondria fail, neurons fail. And this is exactly what we see across Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. Groundbreaking PET scan research from Dr. Stephen Cunnin shows that Alzheimer's brains often lose the ability to efficiently use glucose as fuel years before cognitive symptoms appear. This energy deficit state leads to synaptic breakdown and memory loss. In Parkinson's, mitochondrial failure is linked to a mutation in genes like PINK1 and Parkin, discovered through the work of scientists such as Dr. Richard Ewell at NIH. These genes regulate mitochondrial cleanup. When they malfunction, damaged mitochondria accumulate, killing dopamine neurons. MS lesions show mitochondrial DNA damage and dysfunction in demyelinated axons. Researchers like Dr. Don Mahad at Newcastle University demonstrated that energy failure contributes to virtual hypoxia, a state where neurons starve for oxygen and energy even when blood supply is normal. Across all three diseases, neurons are not only damaged, they are underpowered. Neuroinflammation, mitochondrial failure, and reduced energy metabolism form a vicious cycle. Inflammation damages mitochondria. Damaged mitochondria create more inflammation. Neurons deteriorate, a shared biological loop. While each disease is known for its own hallmark proteins, the underlying mechanism, protein misfolding and immune system dysfunction, is shared. Alzheimer's, amyloid beta plaques, tau tangles, both disrupt neuronal communication. Parkinson's, alpha-synuclein aggregates, known as Lewy bodies. These interfere with dopamine signaling. Multiple sclerosis, MS, is less about protein aggregates and more about autoimmune-driven destruction, but abnormal immune activity still damages myelin proteins like myelin basic protein, MBP. Research from the UK Dementia Research Institute shows that misfolded proteins and autoimmune activity trigger oxidative stress, synaptic loss, neuronal death, activation of microglia, same injury process, different proteins, different regions of the brain, same mechanism of damage. One of the most surprising recent discoveries is that Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS all involve disruptions in the gut microbiome. Studies from Caltech neurologist Dr. Sarkis Mazmanian show that Parkinson's may begin in the gut. His research found that alpha-synuclein might spread from the intestines to the brain via the vagus nerve. A 2024 review in Frontiers in Neuroscience revealed that certain bacteria increase inflammatory metabolites, contributing to amyloid accumulation. Clinical research from Dr. Sergio Baronzini, UCSF, shows that patients with MS have altered gut bacteria that influence immune system dysregulation. In all three we see increased intestinal permeability, higher inflammatory metabolites, reduced short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, altered immune system signaling. The gut and brain are not separate universes, they are co-regulating systems. While each disease has unique genetic markers, research shows shared genetic vulnerabilities in immune regulation, mitochondrial function, oxidative stress response pathways. Genome-wide association studies, GWAS, continue to uncover variants that increase risk across multiple neurodegenerative diseases. Common triggers include chronic inflammation, viral infections, EBV and MS, HSV1 and Alzheimer's, gut microbes and Parkinson's, exposure to toxins, sleep deprivation, traumatic brain injury, metabolic dysfunction. These triggers accelerate the same biological pathways we've discussed. Dorsey's research connects Parkinson's to neuroinflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, and environmental triggers, the same shared pathways you're highlighting between Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. His work broadens the narrative. Neurodegeneration isn't only a biological event, it's increasingly an environmental one. Modern medicine is shifting from symptom-based treatment to mechanism-based treatment. 1. Anti-inflammatory and immune-modulating therapies including monoclonal antibodies, microglial modulators, and immune-resetting therapies in MS. 2. Mitochondrial support and metabolic-based therapeutics. Ketogenic metabolic therapies, NAD plus precursors, and mitochondrial biogenesis research are rapidly expanding. 3. Protein-clearing therapies. New strategies to enhance autophagy, our cell's cleanup system, may help prevent protein aggregation. 4. Biomarker-based early detection, blood tests for neurofilament light chain, NFL, phosphorylated tau, alpha-synuclein. These may predict disease years before symptoms. 5. Precision medicine. Genomic-based risk profiling will allow individualized prevention and therapy. 6. Lifestyle interventions. Across all three conditions, research strongly supports anti-inflammatory diets, regular exercise, sleep optimization, stress reduction, cognitive training, social engagement. These are not alternative treatments. They are evidence-based neuroprotective strategies. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, 3 diseases, 3 different symptoms, 3 different histories. But underneath, the science is telling us a different story, a story of shared mechanisms, neuroinflammation, mitochondrial dysfunction, protein misfolding, immune dysregulation, and gut-brain imbalance. A story of hope, because if these conditions share the same roots, then the solutions we develop may help them all. And this may be the beginning of a new era in neuroscience, one where early detection is possible, treatments are targeted, and neurodegeneration is not a life sentence, but a solvable challenge. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment as to how a neurodegenerative disease may have affected you or a loved one. For more information about our clinic, please go to drvictoriamuñoz.com or see link in description below. We have helped thousands of people regain their health and vitality, and we can help you. Join us next time for another deep dive into the complex world of medical science.